tires stay on the rims of his new Honda machine, the gate falls towards them. They don't dare try to cheat it. Now, there's a different kind of danger here. These are like open-wheel race cars, Indy cars, Formula One cars. If you get tire to tire, somebody's going to flip, Paul Page.
Well, Donnie Banks jumps off into the lead, but unlike the bikes, it's a lot narrower system that you have to get through here just simply because everybody else is so much wider. It seems like we've got a group of guys here who can't decide, do they want to race cars, do they want to race on the bikes?
Well, one thing they figured out, they're all in their mid to late 20s, and the motorcycles were starting to ride them. And this is just a nice place for them to go. It's not quite as physically demanding, but certainly takes the same level of skill.
It's nice to have these ATV4s come along because it does create yet another area for a rider to go. When he's done with riding on the motocross circuit on the two wheels, he gets a little older, his physical conditioning deteriorates a little bit. Now he can run the ATV4.
It extends his career because the factories are just as interested in winning here as they are with the bikes. They're selling a lot of these vehicles.
Donnie Banks leads it. Jimmy White second. Ron Beebe is third. Rodney Fowler fourth. Jim Putman is fifth. And Jeff Watts runs along in sixth now.
And Donnie Banks is on one of those Hondas. Suzuki, as I mentioned earlier, they had the whole field covered last year, but now some other manufacturers have entered the fray. And look, Paul, a little sprint car action going on out there. They like to slide them a bit.
Nice little fight there for fifth between Jim Putnam on 12 and 46L. That's Jeff Watts. Now watch Watts as he is really beginning to pour on the power.
He's a 24-year-old rider from Anaheim, California, on a Suzuki. Now up front, number 31W, Jimmy White. He's running second with his Suzuki. In front of him is a Honda, Donnie Banks, and behind him, number 25, Ron Beebe, also a Honda. So a great showing by that new machine.
In fact, Steve, if you look at the top six, 3 are Suzuki, 3 are Honda. So they're spaced well, currently being led by Donnie Banks. There he is, that D4. It is a Honda machine, followed by the Suzuki of Jimmy White.
And a totally different sensation for these drivers as they try to fly those machines. They don't want to fly them if they can help it, Paul. They'd like to keep that wheel on the ground all the time. But some of these jumps are so steep and have a lip that you just can't avoid it.
The battle for first place. You're watching first, second, and third, as despite the fact they don't want to get in the air, indeed, the way this course is laid out, you have very little choice in some places.
I'll tell you, a rider of one of these ATV4s is just as tired as a two-wheel rider when he gets off that course. It's that tough. I think it takes a little more arm strength maybe to move these machines around.
As they continue to work their way around the circuit here at Carlsbad, no change at the top of the field. It is still Donnie Banks leading it. But let's go back a little bit in the field and take a look at the battle for fourth place. Coming off of the ledge, that's Rodney Fowler, 14F, and he's being chased by the 46L machine. That is Jeff Watts. It's a battle for fourth.
You know, another place in Southern California you'll find these ATV4s is on small speedway motorcycle flat tracks like Costa Mesa and Ascot. Boy, they have a great time with them there, just much like you would an oval track race car. There's Rodney Fowler. He's got a big grin on his face when we took that picture. I don't know about now, though.
Not with Jeff Watts, 46, right behind him. Watts comes up on the outside. He's going to try Fowler. He comes down the outside as they come down the freeway. He pulls alongside. Can he hold it? He gets to the inside of the corner, but Fowler still holds him off. And now, 46, Jeff Watts moves along and picks up fourth.
One thing you do notice with the ATV4s, Paul, is their speed is greatly reduced from the two-wheelers, and that's an added safety factor for them.
So currently running in fourth place is 24-year-old Jeff Watts. And here in the ATV4s, most of the riders are 24, 25, 26 years old. Back to the front of the field once again. It is still Donnie Banks, and Jimmy White is right there, knocking on the back door, with Ron Beebe running in third place. Jimmy White tried desperately to get up and get around Donnie Banks. Machine's a little bit wider, so Banks can use his machine to try and block out the charge of White.
There's a temptation here for me to call these riders, but anytime you're on four wheels, as far as I'm concerned, you're a driver. So, Paul, look how these drivers slide all over that machine, using their weight specifically in the turns to try to gain traction to drive around them.
Well, Steve, you may have pointed out the one key difference between a rider and a driver, and that is these lads aren't attached to the machines by any sort of seatbelt or safety system, so maybe they're really riders.
And to contradict myself, maybe to be a driver, you have to have a steering wheel and not handlebars.
Whatever they are exciting to watch as we look back to see the 46 machine of Jeff Watts as he continues with that battle. Rodney Fowler trying to take fourth place away.
You know, the last thing you would want on a machine like this would be seatbelts. You'd want to get away from it if you get in trouble.
Looking back to the front of the field once again, it is Donnie Banks that leads. Jimmy White second, Ron Beebe third, Jeff Watts is fourth, Rodney Fowler is fifth. We'll be back with more from Carlsbad right after this.
Raceway in Southern California. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page for our coverage of the CMC Dodge Truck Golden State Nationals. Now among our ATV fours, well, there's been no change in the top three. It's still Donnie Banks on a Honda D4 up front, followed pretty closely by 31W Jimmy White. He's on a Suzuki, and Ron Beebe in third. He's also on a Honda. So you got a Suzuki sandwiched in by two Hondas, Paul.
And these are machines that still are that cross between motorcycles and racing cars, though they obviously lean more toward being a motorcycle. And the riders seem to be happier with the idea that they'll get thrown off in case of an accident.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. You don't want to be strapped to any kind of a machine unless it's got a roll bar or roll cage over it. Then it's a horse of another color. But one thing is the same here between these guys and the motorcycle racers. They're all wearing the same exact safety gear. The helmets, the chest protectors, the shoulder pads, the new almost ski-type boots. These are very, very safely equipped riders.
These riders are also seeing a new circuit than they practiced on this morning. They smoothed out the freeway in the interest of safety. We look now at the battle for fourth place. 46L, that's Jeff Watts. Rodney Fowler continues his challenge.
Well, the reasons those modifications were made, the freeway section had developed some nasty bumps that can pitch these things in for in. That could not make the kind of an adjustment with just weight pulling up on the handlebars that a cycle rider can make. They're a little different breed, and the course sometimes have to be a little different for safety reasons.
You know, these are sort of a new venue as we take a look at Donnie Banks, the leader, Jimmy White in second, and Ron Beebe in third. These are a new technology in racing, and so there's a lot to learn about them. But it's amazing to me as we look right here that they can take the same sort of obstacles and challenges that the two-wheel motorcycles can as we watch them as they work their way down the freeway.
You know, Paul, and the beating that these riders take is just incredible. Maybe they don't need the sheer physical strength that the two-wheelers have, but it's all the shock that is transmitted back through their bodies. That's why the ATV4 races are usually shorter than the two-wheel variety.
And they're a bit of a combination between the two-wheel motocross and maybe more like snowmobiling, where they slide back and forth across the machine to get it into the corner exactly where they want it. Unfortunately, it's not as smooth as running a snowmobile on ice or on snow.
You know, something else I like about these little mini racers is you don't need a fancy trailer or truck. You can just slide in the back of the family station wagon. There is the last lap flag being displayed for our leader, D4, Donnie Banks on the Honda. Still in second place, 31W, Jimmy White. That's a Suzuki. And still in third place, yet another Honda, Ron Beebe, T25.
Donnie Banks unchallenged for the lead at the moment, but a nice little fight. Working up for second place. Jimmy White is second at the moment. And Ron Beebe is closing down behind him. That's Beebe, number 25. Just ahead of him is Jimmy White. The leader, uncontested, but possibly a change in position on this, the last lap for second place.
And, Paul, these guys are tired. You can tell as they come off of the ledge there. They're just not quite as high in the air, not quite as aggressive. Everybody's arms are starting to go away on them.
The fight continues for fourth, though unchanged. 46L, Jeff Watts is fourth. In fifth place is Rodney Fowler. They've fought all afternoon, the entire run here for fourth place. It stays static.
Here's our leaders. That is D4 Donnie Banks, just making that right-hander, number 4, followed pretty closely now by Jimmy White on the Suzuki, trying to save a little of Suzuki's reputation here. These Hondas have come on very strong, surprising a lot of people.
And coming on strong as well is Jeff Watts. 46L is now running in third place, and he's closed up behind the leader, Donnie Banks, and second place, Jimmy White. There they are.
That's right, but it's still Donnie Banks and Jimmy White here battling it out for first and second. Jimmy White trying to find some place to pass. It's a little harder with these wider machines with four wheels than it is the narrower motorcycle, and he hasn't got much time. Oh, this course is getting treacherous with these machines. Between their action and the earlier action of the motorcycle, this is one bumpy, devilish Carlsbad Raceway. There's our leader, D4. Donnie Banks on the Honda. Just another couple of jumps, humps, and turns. And over the Devil's Drop he comes. There is the checkered flag for Donnie Banks on the D4 Honda. Likewise, a checker for the second place rider, Jimmy White, 31W on the Suzuki. And here's the final results. Donnie Banks puts one in the bank. Remember, it's a combination of two motos. Jimmy White in second. Jeff Watson up for third. Ron Beebe finished fourth. Rodney Fowler in the fifth position. Now let's see how the points are awarded. 41 for Banks, 38 for White, so on down the line. Now after the second moto, the points will be combined to determine the overall winner. Paul?
Donnie, good run. Any particular problems?
No, I was getting a little tired out there. It's getting real choppy. And my suspension wasn't handling as good as I want, but the power seemed real good. I didn't think there's any problems, though.
For safety purposes, they made some changes.